Tonight, before you close your eyes, I want to tell you a story. A story not about heroes or kings, but about a simple man. A man who carried the weight of his world until he could no longer stand, and in his surrender he discovered peace. This is a story to help you let go tonight. There was once a farmer who lived by the rhythm of the seasons. He worked the soil with his own hands, planting seeds with faith, trusting the earth would give back what he poured into it. His life was simple yet not easy. Each morning, he rose with the sun, and each evening, he returned home carrying the dust of the fields on his clothes and the ache of labor in his body. His dream was never wealth, only enough to care for his family, to see them safe, to see them fed. His neighbors sometimes envied his devotion. They saw how he sang to his children at night, how he shared the little he had with others, how his wife smiled with pride when she watched him working the fields. To them, he was a man rich in spirit even if his pockets were empty. But in his own heart, he carried a quiet fear, the fear of failure, because he knew that no matter how much he gave, so much was beyond his control. That year, the rains did not come when he expected. The ground cracked. The seedlings withered. He tried to water them, but the earth was thirsty beyond his reach. He prayed for clouds, but the sky remained silent. Weeks passed. The crops failed. At first, he told himself there was still hope. He worked harder. He carried water in heavy buckets from the well, pouring it over dry soil, believing his effort would be enough. His hands blistered, his shoulders ached, his breath grew shallow, but the sun burned hotter. The earth hardened further and his hope grew thinner with each passing day. By midsummer, he could no longer hide the truth. What he had planted with hope would never feed his family. He looked across his land, and where he should have seen green stalks swaying in the breeze, he saw emptiness, a silence that mocked him. When harvest time came, his fields stood nearly bare. What should have been abundance was loss. What should have been provision was hunger. He walked the rows in silence, each step heavy, each breath weighed down by despair. His hands, once strong and calloused with hope, now trembled. He thought of his children. He thought of his wife. And he thought of his failure. He had given everything he could, and still it was not enough. That night he sat alone outside his home. The stars burned cold above him. His family had gone to sleep, but he remained awake, staring into the darkness. He could feel the anger rising in him, not at himself, but at the world, at the sky that had withheld its rain, at fate that had chosen him for hardship. His heart was full of noise, resentment, fear, regret. He clenched his fists and whispered bitterly into the night, "Why? Why must I work and receive nothing? Why must my children suffer when I have done all I could?" His voice broke, but no answer came. Only silence. Only the quiet chorus of crickets in the distance. And yet in that stillness, something stirred. He remembered words his father once told him when he was a boy. Words spoken after another season of hardship. The earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. We plant, but we do not command the rain. We labor, but we do not control the harvest. Those words returned to him now, uninvited but unshakable. He sat with them. He breathed them in. For the first time that season, he allowed the truth to touch him. He could not control the sky. He could not summon rain. He could not change what had already happened. What he could control was only this: whether he allowed the weight of the loss to crush him, or whether he laid it down and rested. The night wrapped around him like a quiet blanket. The anger did not vanish, but it softened. The grief did not disappear, but it loosened. The failure was still real, but it no longer defined him. He closed his eyes and whispered into the dark, "I have done what I could. Now I let go." And in that letting go, he felt, perhaps for the first time in many months, a breath of peace. Not triumph, not victory, only peace. The kind of peace that comes when we stop fighting battles we cannot win. And tonight, you are invited to the same. To lay down what no longer serves you. To release what the world has already decided. To rest as the farmer did beneath the stars. The farmer did not change his life in a single night. Loss remained loss. Hunger still lingered in the air, but something within him shifted. It was not the world that softened, it was his heart. He had discovered a small flame of acceptance, and that flame gave him light enough to endure. In the days that followed, he woke again at dawn. His body still carried exhaustion, but his steps were steadier. He worked not with the illusion that he could control the sky, but with the understanding that he could only control his effort, his choices, his attitude. His wife noticed the change. His children too. There was less bitterness in his voice, less weight in his shoulders. One evening, as he sat with his family, he said softly, "We may not have as much as we hoped, but we have each other. And while the harvest failed, our love does not." His words were quiet, but in them there was strength. A strength born not of certainty, but of surrender. This is what the Stoics meant when they spoke of peace. Epictetus taught that some things are within our control and others are not. Our thoughts, our actions, our choices, that is ours. The weather, the harvest, the will of others, that belongs to the world. To grieve for what we cannot change is to fight shadows. To accept it is to return to life. The farmer began to understand this truth. He still felt sadness, yes. He still wished for rain, of course. But he no longer let those desires chain his soul. Instead, he placed his heart where his power truly lay, in patience, in kindness, in gratitude for what remained. He discovered moments he had once overlooked. The laughter of his children chasing one another in the yard. The warmth of his wife's hand resting on his own. The way the moonlight silvered the dry fields at night. These things did not feed the body, but they nourished the spirit. And so slowly the farmer learned what it meant to live with less burden. He still carried the weight of his work, but he no longer carried the anger that once poisoned him. He still faced hardship, but he faced it without hatred. This lesson is not only his, it is ours. Because each of us has fields that do not yield what we expect. Each of us has planted with hope only to reap disappointment. We fight against fate, believing we should have been given more or different or better, yet the world does not bend to our wishes. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The farmer could not command the rain, but he could command his response. And when he shifted his gaze from the sky to his own soul, he found a freedom deeper than any harvest could give. Perhaps tonight you too are holding on to something heavy, a mistake you cannot undo, a word you cannot take back, a dream that has failed to bloom. You replay it again and again, hoping the past will change, but it will not. The harvest is gone. The sky has spoken. But like the farmer, you have a choice. You can cling to bitterness, or you can breathe and let go. You can allow the weight to crush you, or you can lay it down for the night. This does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you stop trying. It means you stop fighting battles already lost and you give yourself permission to rest. The farmer's story whispers a reminder. Life will not always give what we desire, but it will always give us the chance to choose our response. And in that choice lies peace. So tonight, as you listen, ask yourself, what burden am I still carrying? What weight do I grip that I cannot control? And am I willing just for this night to set it down? Take a breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale gently. Let the air carry a little of that burden away. As the farmer found rest beneath the stars, so can you. And if these words speak to you, if they bring even a drop of peace, remember this. Still within is a place you can return to. A place where stories guide you back to calm, where ancient wisdom meets the quiet of the night. You are not alone here. You are held, just as the farmer was held by the silence of the stars. The farmer's story is not the only one. Let me tell you another. This time about a soldier. He was young when he first took up arms, but the years had hardened him. He had seen battles, heard the cries of the wounded, felt the weight of armor pressing against his chest. Yet nothing in war scarred him as deeply as what he lost one fateful night. His closest companion, a man who had marched beside him through deserts and storms, fell in battle. The soldier was there when it happened. One moment they were laughing together, the next the sound of steel and the silence that followed. His friend's life slipped away before he could reach him. When the battle ended, the soldier stood over his friend's body, numb. Around him, others mourned their dead. But he could hear only the echo of laughter that would never return. He carried his friend's sword back to camp, but what weighed heavier than the steel was the guilt. Why him? Why not me? These questions haunted his every step. At night, when the campfire flickered, he saw his friend's face in the flames. When he closed his eyes, he replayed the moment again and again as if somehow he could change the ending. He stopped sleeping. He stopped eating. His body was alive, but his soul was buried with his companion. He thought of leaving the army, of throwing his sword into the river. But no matter what he did, he could not escape the grief. One evening, an older officer sat beside him. The man had lines carved deep into his face, the kind that come only from surviving many winters. He placed a hand on the young soldier's shoulder and said, You are not wrong to grieve, but you are wrong to think you could have stopped fate. Death comes when it will. None of us command the hour, not even the strongest. The words stung, but they rang true. Still, the soldier resisted. But he was my brother, he whispered. I should have protected him. The officer shook his head. You honor him not by drowning in sorrow, but by living with the courage he admired in you. Grief is love that has no place to go. Give it a place. Live well for him. That night, as the soldier lay awake, he considered these words. He realized he had been fighting not only the enemy on the battlefield, but the enemy within. The illusion that he could control life and death. Just as the farmer could not summon the rain, he could not summon his friend back from the grave. His grief was real, but so was the truth. Fate had spoken. The Stoics often reminded themselves of mortality. Memento mori, remember that you must die. This was not to darken the heart, but to sharpen it, to remind us that death is not failure, but nature's law. His friend had returned to that law. To resist it was to resist the world itself. Slowly, painfully, the soldier began to release the guilt. He still mourned, yes. He still wept when the memories rose, but he no longer clung to the belief that he could have altered the outcome. He began to carry his friend not as a wound, but as a memory, a presence in his heart, not a ghost that haunted him. In time, he found a new way to live. Before each battle, he whispered his friend's name as a prayer. When he saw the sunrise, he saw it for two. When he laughed again, it was not just his laughter, it was theirs. In this way, his friend lived on, not in flesh, but in spirit. And perhaps this is the lesson for us as well. We all lose someone. We all carry empty chairs at our tables, silences where laughter used to be. The pain does not vanish, but if we carry it wisely, it becomes love instead of torment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." The soldier could not extend his friend's years, but he could live his own with goodness, with courage, with peace. So tonight, if there is someone you miss, someone you could not save, let their memory be light, not a chain. Remember them, but release the guilt. Honor them not by holding on to pain, but by living with the peace they would wish for you. Breathe deeply. Inhale the love that remains. Exhale the guilt that binds you. As the soldier learned to rest again, so too can you, 2 lives. A farmer who lost his harvest. A soldier who lost his brother in arms. Different worlds, different burdens, yet the same truth. Both faced what they could not control. Both suffered until they learned to release, and both found in letting go a peace that the world could not take away. Their stories echo across time because they are not only theirs, they are ours. Every one of us has known the drought of disappointment when our labor yields nothing. Every one of us has known the grief of loss when love is cut short by fate. We walk through life believing we command more than we do, and when the illusion breaks, we collapse under its weight. The Stoics understood this fragility of human hope. They did not deny suffering. They did not dismiss grief. Instead, they asked us to look closely at what belongs to us and what does not. Epictetus wrote, "Some things are up to us and some are not." The farmer could not command the sky. The soldier could not stop death. And you cannot control every twist of your life, but you can choose your mind. You can choose your response. You can choose whether tonight you carry the burden, or you set it down beside your bed and rest. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each night that the world would not always bend to his will. He ruled an empire, yet even he confessed, "The universes change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." If an emperor needed to let go of control, how much more do we? Letting go does not mean you stop caring. The farmer still planted seeds. The soldier still marched into battle. Letting go means you no longer tie your soul to what you cannot command. It means you do the work with love and then you release the outcome with peace. Perhaps tonight you hold anger. Perhaps you carry regret. Perhaps you replay old conversations, imagining words you should have said, choices you should have made. This is the drought. This is the battlefield. This is your burden. And yet, like the farmer and the soldier, you are not powerless. You cannot erase the past, but you can choose the meaning you give it. You cannot stop tomorrow from coming, but you can prepare your heart with calm. You cannot control the hearts of others, but you can soften your own. So breathe. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Each breath is a reminder you are alive now. This moment belongs to you. The past does not. The future does not. Only now. Let go of the harvest that failed. Let go of the companion you could not save. Let go of the arguments that cannot be rewritten, the mistakes that cannot be undone, the weight you were never meant to carry through the night. The Stoics were not cold men without feeling. They felt deeply. They loved, they lost, they mourned. But they understood that peace does not come from control. Peace comes from release. It comes when you stop demanding that the river flow backward, and instead you let it carry you forward. And tonight you are invited to do the same. To join those who across centuries found strength in surrender, to rest in the knowledge that life is larger than you, but peace is still within you. Here in this space you are not judged for your grief. You are not mocked for your failures. Here you are guided gently back to calm. This is why Still Within exists. To hold you in the night, to remind you that wisdom is not distant but close as your breath. So if this story has touched you, if the voices of the farmer and the soldier have spoken into your own life, know that you are welcome here. Night after night you can return and we will be here, sharing stories, whispering wisdom, helping you rest. You do not have to walk through your burdens alone. The night is waiting for you. The silence is waiting for you. You have carried much today and perhaps even yesterday and many days before. But here right now you do not need to carry anything. You do not need to fight. You do not need to hold. You do not need to explain. Breathe. Slowly. Deeply. Feel how your breath enters and how it leaves. Nothing more is asked of you. Nothing more is demanded. You are simply here. Imagine the farmer. He has done all he can. The earth has taken and the earth will give again. But tonight he is not in the fields. He is not in the storm. He is at rest under the quiet roof of his home. His body heavy, his eyes closing, his soul unburdened. He has let go, and sleep has welcomed him like an old friend. Now imagine the soldier. He has seen the pain of loss. He has faced the weight of grief. But tonight he lays down his sword. He does not relive the battle. He does not count the scars. He lets his memories drift like leaves on a stream carried gently into the night. He closes his eyes knowing that peace is not weakness. Peace is strength. And in peace he finds rest. And now imagine yourself here in this moment. You do not need to replay the conversations of the day. You do not need to rewrite what has already passed. You do not need to prove yourself. The Stoics remind us that the mind becomes calm, not when the world changes, but when we choose stillness within. And tonight you have chosen stillness. Breathe again. Deeper, slower. With each breath, feel the weight leaving. With each breath, feel the calm growing. With each breath, let the day go. You are safe to rest. You are safe to release. You are safe to trust that tomorrow will come in its own time, with its own gifts, with its own challenges. But that is for tomorrow. Tonight is only for peace. Let your body sink deeper. Let your thoughts soften. Let your heart grow lighter. The night is not asking you to do more. The night is only asking you to be. The farmer has rested. The soldier has rested. Now it is your turn. Rest is not an escape. Rest is wisdom. Rest is strength. Rest is the gift that life gives you when you surrender your need to hold. Stillness is not empty. Stillness is full of life, full of healing, full of renewal. When you rest, you are not falling behind. You are aligning with the rhythm of the universe. Just as the moon does not rush, just as the stars do not hurry, you are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to close your eyes. Let the night embrace you. Let sleep carry you. Let go. And as you drift, remember this, you are not alone. Every night there are thousands, millions who breathe as you breathe, who let go as you let go, who seek the same quiet strength you seek. We are all human. We are all tired, and we all deserve rest. This is Still Within, a place to return when the weight of the world grows heavy, a place to breathe, a place to remember the wisdom of calm. If this story has guided you, let it guide you again tomorrow. Let it remind you that peace is always near. If this voice has helped you find rest tonight, let it stay with you. Let it be part of your journey. Subscribe to Still Within, so that each night when you need to let go, you have a place to return. A light in the quiet, a voice in the silence, a reminder that calm is possible. Breathe once more, deep, slow, gentle. You are safe. You are calm. You are free. Now let yourself drift into silence, into stillness, into peace. The night is waiting, and you are ready. Thank you for resting here. Thank you for choosing Still Within. Good night.